Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Namo Guruvaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Amen. So, short schedule today. I have some rascals I gotta feed. You're gonna benefit from the shortness of time here. So, with no further ado, what would you rascals like to consider? Yes, beloved.
Ubuka, and happiness again. My question is concerning infinite happiness.
Infinite happiness?
Yeah, I mean, can you explain some of that to me? I mean, it's some of your writing, you say that it's, I guess, virtually impossible to this body. So can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can say a few more things about it. I'll try to put it in a context that will perhaps address some of the other questions that may arise when we seriously investigate happiness, capital H. You read in the Infinite Happiness Sutra, the Ananda Sutra. Twice you read it, there's still questions. That's good. That's good. Well, take a few minutes, beloved, for your sake. We'll outline the laws, because there's laws that govern everything. There are laws of science, and there's spiritual laws. There's laws of psychology, and so forth and so on. So there's certain laws, and certain things you have to understand. You see, for your quest for happiness to become anything more than that of a person who sees an oasis in the desert and presumes that there's really water out there. You will run out there and you will die. In the same way, we perceive the world and all that goes on in it. Much in the same way that we perceive the image, the appearance of an oasis in a desert, you see. But everything you're experiencing in the world that looks like it'll make you happy is just an illusion, just a mere appearance, you see. And you cannot know that by using just your five senses of perception. Just as your eyes trick you about the presence of an oasis in the desert, well, your five senses of perception, you see, only can see appearances, and you can't dispute them. To see the reality that there is no oasis out there, you need a third eye. The eye of Heru, Tisrati, the single eye that Jesus talked about, you see, the eye of understanding. If all you're doing is relying on your five physical senses of perception to negotiate your task of trying to be happy, that's not going to happen. You will always be chasing something that is just a mirage. You see, you will get married and you will think that this man, this woman will be the source of happiness, only to discover that that is not so. You see, and you perish in the relationship. Now you stuck. You got 2.5 kids, a mortgage, and so forth and so on, and no happiness. And it's like that with every strategy you have resorted to. You get your PhD, same thing. You make you some money, same thing. You see? Notice this, and you'll begin to see something of the law that is governing this whole process that we call the world. Fair enough, beloved? Okay. Have a seat. This may take a minute. I don't want you to be too tired. So, it's interesting because we've had a little bit of this conversation with one of the cooler groups, right? One of them, I don't see any of them here. But I'll share it nevertheless. You were here, you were there, we had this discussion. So whatever you don't understand, you can see him and or Ronnie Kamari, she's hiding in the back. They have begun such an exploration. So let's start with the basic laws about the nature of samsara, worldly experiences, the world. First law, ready? Okay, old people get your pen and pencils out, young people, y'all just relax, you're not gonna forget it. Whatever begins in time will end in time. Ponder this. Don't just hear it, don't just write it down, because you'll just make information out of it. You follow me? It must be pondered, reflected, ruminated. Manana is what they call it in the Vedanta tradition. You hear something, then you must reflect until you get the understanding. If the reflection is not there, all you got is just some more information, which is useless. Information don't transform anybody. It is set there. So it's hearsay. Like follow. Ponder it. Whatever begins in time and space, for you physicists, I want to keep it accurate because time and space are simultaneous phenomena according to quantum theory. Whatever begins in time and exists in space will end in time and space, which means it will end and it will disappear. You won't even be able to pick up the traces of it with your 5 physical senses at all. Gone, disappear. That's done for son and time. This is the eternal truth. Ponder that, you see. And when I say ponder, I don't mean consider it as it is true in other people's lives. That's not reflection. There's no value in that. That will only generate a sense of self-delusion, arrogance, vanity. These great teachings that these mystics leave us, beloved, you see, they are to function like a mirror. Are you with me? When you look in a mirror, right, you're trying to make sure you didn't cut yourself when you shave it, or you got your makeup on straight, you know what I mean, and looking good and so forth. Well, the sutras, the scriptures are mirrors. It's not philosophy where you speculate. It's not hypothetical thinking. It's a mirror. So you must look at these fundamental truths and the arguments associated with them like you use a mirror. Maharaji used to say you have to set your life in the palm of your hand as you study the sutras and look and see any evidence that what is being said to you, what is being heard by you is true for you. Now whether it's true for other people, if you don't know what's true for you, how are you going to presume to know what's true for the rest of all mankind? Come on. That's a pathological ego trip that you on. Know thyself. Ancestors taught that, right? And if you know everything else according to your information and hearsay, it is as if you know nothing. Are you with me? So, first law. Any questions about it? Maybe I'll put them all out and then we can have a little dialogue. Is it okay with you all? second law. If whatever begins in time and space and ends in time and space cannot be real, QED. Under that. Now, what is your definition and understanding of what is real? What is the criteria something must meet in order for us to say that's real? Have you ever thought about it? Or true? Ever think about it? Yes, whatever.
Well, that's why I get
That's where you get lost?
yeah. I mean, you indicated earlier, the more I think I know, the more I don't know.
You become a wise man.
So, I just don't know. That's why I'm continuing to search. See, and the part about the ego, I mean, yes, that's pretty profound too. And all you just said is obviously it's in your writing, but I was just going to jot down a couple of key words, that's all.
Well, the truth is never in the writing. They're pointers. They're just pointers. Like the finger points to, something I want you to see, get your attention, say, look over there, see that. You see, it's just a finger pointing. It's not the thing itself. That's the limitation of all books, and so forth and so on. And sometimes the books themselves are not even able to function as pointers because we corrupt the pointing with our own opinions and interpretations and so forth and so on. It's because of that reason that traditionally this kind of dialogue has been always conducted orally. You see? And even sometimes that is missed, but nevertheless, follow me? The oral tradition, you see, the greatest wisdom has always been given orally. It cannot be written. It is transmitted. It's like an osmosis. So the question, and we can open it up for anyone to answer, because you got some brilliant people in here, we're asking, what is the criteria anything, any phenomena must satisfy in order to qualify as being real? Now, as you think about that, remember, when I am talking about samsara, or the jagat, the world, the reality that we are experiencing in the world is what we call conditional reality. You see, it is also referred to as dualism. The movement of one thing to its polar opposite, a kind of pendulum, a rhythm. Like you breathe, we breathe in and we breathe out, that's a rhythm. This whole thing has that same rhythm, you see? It moves from one pole to the next pole. And in between there's gradations that give you the variety of experiences between pleasure, and then pleasurable experiences will begin to move automatically toward pain. You see, you can't have pleasure that will remain pleasurable all the time. It can't happen. And I'll offer you the third law that makes that the case. But I want you to understand we're talking about conditional reality versus absolute reality. So when I ask that question, what is the criteria for something to be called real with a capital R? You see, absolute reality, ultimate reality, you see, versus conditional reality. What must something meet? Yes, beloved.
In order to meet that criteria, it has to be that which does not change.
Unchanging. It must not change. And it must not end. For something to be real, it must not end. It must always be the case. Always. You see? And this gets to be very interesting to explore. Always the case. A bad example would be from the science of math. You know what I mean? You see? Right? I mean, 2 + 2 is going to be 4, you know, until you get to quantum. Are you with me? But you understand what I'm saying? Eternally the case, not changing. You see? Another way of putting it must be beyond time and space. It must be transcendent of that, not affected by time or space. Transcendental truth, absolute truth, ultimate truth, final truth, as opposed to conditional reality. So, let's move to the third one, then we can open it up because there's a lot of nuances here, and I want to give you the chance to ask your questions because this kind of dialogue is how we all learn. Are you with me? So it's just fine with me if it's fine with the rest of the crew. Third law that's governing conditional reality, okay? Which is what you're living in the waking state, right? It's conditional reality. It's not ultimate reality, it's conditional reality that we are negotiating, transacting our lives and living. We're in the realm of conditional reality here, and I'm giving you the laws that govern conditional reality, you see? Third law. If what begins in time and space and ends in time and space and is not real can only be unreal, only momentary, transient, impermanent. In Buddhism, the Buddha called it anicca, impermanence. Everything is impermanent. Everything is in flux. Everything is changing. Everything is momentary. You see? Now you can't see this because your 5 senses of perception only function at the macro level, the Newtonian level. You see? You can't see the subtle atomic changes that's going on even in your own body. Moment to moment. Nanosecond to nanosecond change. It's just that our senses of perception can't notice it. Are you with me? When you were young, when you were the baby, your mustache started growing. You just didn't recognize it. But it started growing the moment you came out your mother's womb, but at a pace that is subatomic, beneath the reach of your 5 gross senses of perception. Are you with me? True. Now, I'm not offering you these laws for you to simply swallow without inspecting them. Quite the opposite. I'm encouraging you to go and consider that, reflect, you reflect, like in a mirror, and see if that holds true for every experience you have had. Now, when you do not understand these fundamental teachings and you're interacting in conditional reality, you having a pleasurable experience and you want to make that last forever. Nothing lasts forever here. You want to make love, your concept of love, last forever. Your concept of love is just attachment, and that don't last forever. Cannot last forever. You see, neither the thing, person, situation, or circumstance, or you one who is interacting with them. None of that is forever. Nothing here is forever. Everything is it's moving from one pole to the next pole. That's almost how it's done. And when you understand that, you don't cling. You still enjoy, but it's no clinging anymore. You live more in a let go. Are you with me? You see? It's the clinging that is the root of your suffering. Because you're trying to make that which is not eternal and changeless, eternal and changeless. No way to do that. This is conditional reality. You cannot jump off the top of a building here and fall at a rate different than the rate of gravity. You will fall at the rate of gravity. You can't violate it. Are you with me? Are you all following me?
Yes, sir.
When I was talking to the cooler group, I call it rock bottom Dharma. This is the bottom line Dharma. This is the bottom line. You have to understand that. You see? And with that understanding, then you come into harmony with conditional reality, what the African mystics call ma'at. You see? You come into harmony. You see? Because you can accept conditional reality as it is, and not out of your ignorance try to violate the laws that govern the physics and the phenomenology, you see, of conditional reality. Are you with me? You're not trying to jump off roofs and not fall at the rate of gravity. Are you with me? You're not trying to make that which is temporary permanent. There is no permanent, nothing. And that is why your fundamental disposition is always one of insecurity. You're always insecure and unhappy, unfulfilled, always. Because of this fundamental non-acceptance of the nature of conditional reality and every phenomenon and experience you're having within that conditional reality. You see? You are in rebellion against reality. You're going to lose. And the sign of your losing is unfulfillment, dissatisfaction, dukkha, that's what the Buddha called it. Never satisfied. Never feeling as good as you want and need to feel. You're going against the law. There's no winning in that, you see. Rather than getting in harmony with it, you see. And you can't get in harmony unless you first accept it on the basis of profound understanding. Are you with me? You must become man or woman of understanding. That's fundamental. And understand this place and what's going on and how it works and so forth and so on. You see? And when you really understand it, you accept it. Your desires are the opposite of acceptance. Notice that. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. Conditional reality is being the way it is, but that conflicts with the way you want it to be. In that moment, you're wanting reality to be some way other than the reality that governs conditional experiences is. And in that moment of non-acceptance, there's a desire to change. You see? And because you don't know certain things, you suffer from the feeling that I can actually do that. You become the doer, the karta. You think you can do that. You see? This situation I don't like. Now my desire is to change. And I can do that. How are you, puny, weak little human being, bound in profound ignorance, going to change these laws? These laws are as irrevocable as the laws of nature. You're dealing with laws here. Are you with me? They don't factor your opinion into it. They don't, these laws are not interested in whether you like it or not. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
These are laws. And either you get with that and get in my heart, or you struggle against that and you will live a life in isfet, the opposite of mine. A life of pure chaos, disappointment, failed expectations, heartbreak, disappointment, doom, God, suffering. I stumble sometimes. This is the truth. But don't take my word for it. You see, it's not even right for me to call it my word, personally. The word that has been passed down since time immemorial. You see, I'm just regurgitating that which is ancient wisdom. Follow my argument? Y'all look gloomy here. Did y'all want me to sing Brother Billy with that in the dance music? You have to understand this. You see? You have to understand what you're in. You see, you're in the world. And you got to understand this place. There is a kind of developmental process, however, that is required even to understand this world. The first thing you got to do is understand yourself. Then, once that is accomplished, then you can move on to understanding the world and then understanding what you call God. These are three things that has to be understood. When I say understand yourself, you got to understand who and what you are and who and what you are not. You see? And the negative approach of eliminating that which you know you are not is the best route. You see? Because you will not be able to know thyself directly, because that self is infinite. That self is mysterious beyond the mind's ability to even comprehend it. You see? Just like the eye can't see itself, see everything else, not itself. In the same way, your true self is incomprehensible, amindra, hidden. The intellect can never see it. Your mind will never see it because it's not an object separate from you. Are you with me? There's not that object-subject dualism. Are you with me? Stillness. But what can happen and what the mystics are suggesting to us when they say know thyself is to know what is not thyself. And when you have known all of that which is not thyself, then that self, it shouldn't even be called self-realization, but I guess that's as good as any other words. Are you with me? You are free to be yourself instead of being the ego I, that ego self that you have created, which is pure fiction, pure imagination. Stuff you want to be, but are not. Is this too rough? I'm getting scared. You know what I mean? So there's a lot more to be said about it, you see. I don't know if in the Infinite Happiness in the Vahananda Sutra whether I touched on this at this particular level. That's an old book written a long, long time ago. And so over those many years, these rascals have gotten more sophisticated and more knowledge of wool, and you see, so I gotta update it, the argument a little bit, what they're saying. But hopefully I've contributed something that has been useful for you.
Oh, yeah.
Great. So those are some of the fundamental things. They're not all of the things. Those are just fundamentals, you see. If you can get that, it's like being able to get your ABCs, then your next step you'll be able to read, you know. So there's more to get in order to reach where we all are trying to reach. Yes, beloved. I know you were stepping last night. I can feel it all over you. You were down in Grand Park stepping. I like it.
Well, actually, it was too crowded.
Okay, well, we might play you some stepping music here.
But I was out at Willowbrook
In Willowbrook.
last night, hurting them.
All right.
Bhagwan. It's been a few months since I've been able to get back over here. Brother Mountain Song Kumabali, some of my comrades. You know my suit.
Yes, I did.
Where did he go?
Went to the washroom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Boy, he went and got in his car. He was my brother. He won't be back.
No, actually he has to go to work later on. But anyway, I want to ask some specific kind of things.
Yes,
Appreciating what you said in terms of Uhuka's question. Let me deal with libation, since you know we started with libation. When we do libation, can the people who we are,
Directed
called-
libation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can they see and hear us?
They're ghosts.
Or is libation an empty exercise, in that regard, if they can't? And the reason I ask that is because I've heard you say that once we die, we come back. Is the spirit that was our parents, if they're deceased, the spirit that was Yahshua, Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Fannie Lou Hamer, Nat Turner, etc., are they back in this world occupying new bodies?
That's an excellent question, beloved. And I can only give you the short answer today, but it's worthy of a very in-depth question, because many things can be said about that. First, you have to understand that when they talk about reincarnation and coming back, they're not talking about the coming back of your persona, your ego, as you know it now. That's a one-shot phenomenon. That ain't never coming back. So there's no such thing as the reincarnation of egos and personas. The self you are in this lifetime, beloved, is brand new. You're not even the self you were in the previous lifetime. Because in every lifetime, the spirit, when it embodies into a gross physical body and become identified with it, forms a new self-image based on the body that they got, and so forth and so on, and their environment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The point I'm making is that what is reincarnating, it's not ego, it is not personality, it is not persona. All that is a one-shot phenomenon, you see. Think about it, even the personas that we have now itself is an evolution. At one time, you didn't even have this persona of yourself. You follow what I'm saying? You see? Are you with me? The story of the ugly duckling speaks to that. You know, the little ugly duck, and then it became beautiful, and a whole new persona, see, emerged, you see? So even how you see in yourself is changing. What to say of dying and coming back. So, first thing that has to be understood, and that's critical understanding. Are you with me? That's critical understanding. No reincarnation, no coming back of an ego I, the ego I, the persona, the personality, the sense of self that you have now. one-shot thing. It's not even right to say that you, who you and what you really are, even come back, because it's never destroyed in the first place, you see. When there's the understanding that the nature of your true self is just pure consciousness and awareness. When you drill it down, when you remove all the not self. See, because we're looking for the real self, right? So that real self must meet the same criteria that anything else must meet in order for it to be considered real. Are you following my argument? It must be some aspect of your sense of self that is never changing, that is always the case, always the same, that does not differ from the waking state realm of your human experience into the dream level of human experience and into the deep dreamless level. See, you are cycling through 3 states of experiences on a daily basis. True? You're waking, then you're dreaming, and then you're in what we call susupti, deep dreamless sleep, where nothing is going on. Are you with me? Apparently. What and who you really are must persist through all 3 of these states. If it's not persistent through all 3 of these states, then it can't be real, by definition. Right? It's temporary, you see, unreal. An appearance. You see? Are you following my argument, beloved?
Trying.
What I'm saying is that the misconception is that people tend to think that this reincarnation has something to do with the body, the personality, and so forth and so on. And none of that is true. You see? It has another function. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, right? It has some utility. But what I'm offering you is at least according to my humble opinion, the bottom line. Because we're energy. True? Most of you who have studied science call yourself spirit, soul. Those are just euphemisms, synonyms for energy, consciousness, light, blah, 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 blah. That can't be destroyed. That never dies. What dies is what? The body, right? It drops away, right? Because these bodies are made out of these 5 basic elements, right? You all know them, right? Right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. You see? Everything in this universe is made out of the same 5 elements. Everything. It's just the 5 elements in different combination, but they're still just the 5 elements. You follow me? And these elements dissolve over time. Have you noticed? You see? When you look in the mirror, the face you see staring back at you is not the face of the little 3-year-old boy that looked in the mirror. Is it? Your elements are dissolving. And these elements makes up all of the functions in this body. And the function of your senses. And the functions in your mind. So as the elements that make up your gross physical body, as they dissolve, you start getting weak. Because they're dissolving. Your eyesight is bad. It's dissolving. The elements that underlies and make seeing with the physical eyes possible, dissolving. You walk slow, dissolving. You can go months without sex, dissolving. Everything dissolves. The elements. And that's why in Christianity they say ashes to ashes, earth to earth. It's earth. You understand? It's made out of the same stuff as the earth, carbon. Are you with me? Are you following me? So hopefully that clears up a little bit of that misunderstanding about reincarnation. It's the consciousness based on factors that would take us many more conversations to appreciate. Incarnates into another body. So the ones that you do a puja for, those ancestors, in your next life, you'll get a body, you'll be a white man somewhere. Puerto Rican somewhere. Depends on your karma, your desires, and so forth and so on. You may not even be in a black body. You might not have been in one then. You follow what I'm saying? It's just all speculation. You follow me? It's like life, life, right? Life. There's only one life, right? And that one life is manifest in an infinite variety of forms. But that life that is in you is in that bird. It's the same life. Are you with me? It's not like the bird life that is operating and animating the bird's body is different from the life that is in you and animating your body. It's only one life manifesting itself in an infinite variety of forms and names, what we call nama-rupa. You see? So when life goes into that form, we call it bird. It's arbitrary, but we all agree that we can use that term, so we all know what we're talking about. That bird, right? And then when that same life incarnates into Satvana, say that woman. You see? It's the same life. Are you with me? When these bodies drop, and they will drop, they're designed to drop. They're not forever. They are product of conditional reality. Design. You see? And it will drop, what we call die. But not the self. Quay, pure consciousness itself, awareness. So you go and inspect, look into the cycles of your experience, and see if the sense of self you are enjoying in this very moment, see if it's there in deep sleep. Is it there in deep sleep?
I have no idea.
Do you have the sense of being who you are now when you are in deep sleep? Very direct question. Just look at the experience last night.
I don't remember that when I'm asleep.
Were you existing? You weren't there, right? You weren't there, right? There was no you. No ego I. But there must have been something there, right? What was that? I mean, you have to sit with it, beloved. It is very, very subtle. So I won't torture you, because this is a kind of dialogue we have. That is sort of a way of guiding you into your seeing this for yourself. I'm trying to make a mirror for you. Are you with me? And just look, because you can't dispute your own experiences. You can dispute arguments, but not your own experiences. You can't dispute that. It's self-evident. I think that this young lady had a question. I'm so sorry. Yes, beloved.
Good afternoon, brother.
Good afternoon, sister.
To piggyback on what the brother Manson was saying, I think, so when we do a libation, we're calling the consciousness back, because you said the body. So if I do a libation to Martha's Garden, I'm not really calling on how the brother looked when he was on earth. I'm calling on his consciousness, his spirit. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, something like that. And that takes us into the value of it, you see? Because when you pour libation, at least what you're doing in that moment is acknowledging that that There's an African proverb that says, I am because we are. We are because I am. What the proverb is insinuating is that there's oneness here. Are you with me? And your act of libation is a kind of act of acknowledgement and gratitude and appreciation. Are you with me? You see? For the other person existing, period. Are you with me? And normally your ancestors are those who are in a long line of people who have loved you. I mean, most of these libations are not done to historical figures, you know that. In indigenous Africa or in indigenous India, Puja. I mean, you do these libations for ancestors that are connected to this particular body or the memory of their family history and so forth and so on. You see, it's not academic. You follow what I'm saying?
But so you're doing it in memory of them, but not because their consciousness, you don't want to bring their consciousness?
Well, you can't bring their consciousness back, first of all. How will you do that?
I mean, their spirit, for lack of a better word.
Well, what you're trying to do, in some sense, you're trying to, I suppose, psychologically speaking, you're trying to honor their life and living, fundamentally. You follow what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that, per se. Are you with me? You see? But we should honor everybody's life and living. You follow me? The school teacher that taught you how to read, you should honor her, because that's been a tremendous benefit to you. Are you with me? Your mother who taught you how to comb your hair and so forth and so on. You see? Because we're all interdependent here. You see? In Buddhism, the concept is called Patika Samuppada. Forget the language. But what it really means is the principle of dependent origination. By dependent origination, what is meant is that in order for this to be, that has to be. Are you with me? In order for you to be, your mother had to be. Are you with me? You simply would not be having this body that you have unless there was your mother, right? So your physical existence was dependent and originated from her existence. Are you with me? That's perhaps not the best example, but I'm trying to give you a sense of what is meant by dependent origination. Are you with me? And in that sense, her body was dependent upon her mother's body and so forth and so on ad infinitum. Are you with me? If you do the math, you will find that everybody's been your mother in some lifetimes. See, we're the beneficiaries of everybody. You follow what I'm saying? Everybody.
So, last question, I'm looking at the pictures on the, where you see it,
These pictures.
right here.
Maharaji and you.
Oh, don't look at that.
I'm guessing that the first one is you, and then I see this other person cloaked with the long beard.
Yes, that's my guru. So you see, guru is a Sanskrit word. It really simply means light that disperses darkness. You see, so in our life, if we're fortunate, we come across someone that shines some light of knowledge into the darkness of our ignorance. You see, and it is usually if the receptivity is good, then the darkness is disappeared and one is transformed. You see, because everything that we know has to be taught to us. Are you with me? Someone had to teach you how to tie your shoe, how to put your clothes on, how to put your socks on, how to eat. Everything that we know, we had to be taught. And then we build on that which we've been taught. But it's all based on having been taught. The guru is the one that teaches us about life. You see, all spirituality, all of the sutras, scriptures, across all of the traditions, are writing about life. They're not writing about some pie in the sky somewhere. They're not writing academic philosophy. They're not writing psychology, although sometimes we limit our understanding of these great treatises to just psychology and philosophy and theology and so forth and so on. All that is his stuff. What they're writing about is life. You see, they come to give us the reality teachings on life. You see, they're reality teachings. Not speculation, not armchair shit. Are you with me? Teaching on reality, your reality. You see? And how to interact with this conditional reality in such a way that you are liberated. Mosca, you're saved. Okay, Jesus will put it. Saved from what? Your near pathological and emotional and psychological dependency on this and that for the sake of being happy. You look at your life, what you will simply find is that you have become almost to the point of a pathology, psychologically and emotionally dependent on this or that for the sake of being happy. And you have no control over the this or the that you're dependent on. At all. That shine the light of understanding into our mind, you see, and disappeared that ignorance so that we can, as the Buddha would say, see things as things really are, and then get into Ma'at with that. You see, get into Ma'at with that. Even this world, you know, this world is not paradise. There's not going to be any utopia here. I mean, Buddha did not change this world. Jesus did not change this world. Muhammad hadn't changed this world. Moses couldn't change it. I mean, 10,000 enlightened beings have come from this place, and they have not made everybody hold hands and sing like God. That's not possible down here. If you want peace, there must be war. This is dualism here. This is wisdom. It runs counter to the ignorant aspirations of an ego-bound person who do not even understand this stuff of how this place works here. It's not utopia. It's not even close to utopia. It's made up of opposites. This side is. Jesus said, what? Don't store up your treasures on earth. You know what I mean? It's in his own language, he's trying to communicate the same thing. This place is not it. Nothing lasts here. Everything is moving toward its polar opposite. Always. And so is your body. You see? And the reality teaching says that, well, you don't have to accept the reality teachings. You're still going to grow old, you're going to get sick, and you're going to die. It's no problem. So those mystics have not been really crusaders, where they're trying to gather a lot of people to build a big congregation, start a movement. They're never into that. You see? So the reality teachings, it falls on some ears that are deaf. Jesus said some seeds fall on rocky ground. They just don't grow. And that's all right too. See my point? It's all right too. Nothing wrong is happening here. this is how this place is. I mean, you got 7 billion people who are pathologically vain and full of ego, and you think it's going to be peace here? 7 billion selfish people all trying to get just what they want with no concern for others. Don't you know there's going to be chaos here? Even in ancient African culture, you know, that was one of the primary functions of the Cheko, you know, of the Pharaoh, right? And their coronation, the Pharaoh always made the same statement: I've come to restore my art. You see? But my art in a very seriousness. Are you with me? Not the Ma'at of Karinga and Carruthers. You follow me? In your African-centric scholars. That's not art. That's glorified history. It's a distinction. And that's what the pharaohs come for. It's what temples in Karnak was all about. You see? Edfu, they're about that. Mystery school, they're about that. Knowledge. Yes. Second beloved, how are you? Good to see you.
I have a question. I really want to build on those two questions earlier when they were referring to reincarnation and the aspect of kind of drawing on causation. Where does, and I'm sure you talked about this several times, I know you have, where does the aspect of karma, in a more, maybe in a deeper explanation as far as karma throughout those 3 stages of reality, is karma parallel to those 3 stages? Because that should be one, in my understanding, that should be one thing that carries over. The body drops, your mind drops, ego drops. But your consciousness, pure consciousness, has to have something that is carrying. Well, can't say have to have, but
yes.
The question is that does karma carry the karma?
Yes. Well, until and unless, beloved, you have transcended the body-mind sense of self and recovered the experience of being only pure consciousness itself, the law will still be influenced by that kind of lack of realization, you see, and your desires. Because it's really interesting. It's almost like, and this is not the deep answer. We'll discuss this in the barber shop, next haircut, okay? So I'm giving you a shorter version. Think of it like this. Think of the universe as being like Ganesha, they call him in India, wish fulfilling, right? And they give you whatever you desire, okay? Now let's say that you like hurting people. You're a sadist. You know what I mean? You like causing people pain. Well, then that's a strong desire in you, right? And every time you try to act on that desire, they lock you up and put you in jail and stuff like that because you're a human being. You ain't supposed to be acting like that, right? Well, in the next lifetime, you will get a body, you know what I mean, that is designed that will allow you to be violent. Are you with me? Maybe you'll be a lion somewhere, right? You see, and so forth and so on. So it's like your mind desires are fulfilled. Now, consciousness itself is not affected by that. Are you with me? See, this is what you have to understand. It's just like you get angry, right? That's an emotion, right? It's in the mind, right? But there's something that is aware that you're angry. True? Is that thing angry?
No, sir.
No. No. Well, it's the same as in a violent person. You see? They're violent, blah, blah, blah. There's something that is aware of them being violent, but itself is not violent. Are you with me? But as long as the mind is full of all these desires and all of these negative impulses, you follow me? It gets a body that allows it to indulge that. But the consciousness in that body, and in that lifetime, no matter how criminal or brutal it becomes, that consciousness is not affected at all, you see? It's like the sky, right? When lightning strikes, the sky is not touched. True? It doesn't scar the sky. Your consciousness is sky-like, you see? It's like the space in this room, right? You see? We can start shooting here, and I can kill about right? It'll be in the newspaper, right? But there'll be no bullet holes in the space in this room. True? True. Consciousness is like space. It's the context in which everything is arising and being experienced, but itself is untouched. You follow me?
So it's the witness.
The witness. It is only witnessing. It is aware. You see? It's like that. You see? It's like that. Just witness. Untouched. And again, you don't have to take my word for it. Just observe it. Now we're having this conversation, right? We're hearing each other and so forth, but there's something, right? You and me, that is simply aware. And it's the same awareness. It's only one awareness manifested. So it's a good question. Anything else, beloved, about it? Up my cheek.
So, I guess that, is there, what's the way out?
The way out is in.
When I hear, I've read 2 books, I'm finishing up one right now, it's called The Wisdom of History. And then the other one is the book of Ecclesiastes. And it seems awfully depressing that we don't learn from either, and that we continue to go in that cycle that seems like it never ends. And I don't know if I heard it from you or read it in a book, you know, it all kind of was a big blur, but it talked about the purpose of religion being preparing us for death by showing us how to live today. But we don't seem to grasp that concept. And it's an ongoing struggle, battle, like a gerbil on a treadmill, just going and going in. Is there a way out? I mean, obviously, there's meditation, but there's no...
Well, it depends on the individual. If there's no real strong desire for a way out, then there's no way out, you see. But the mystics call them mukshava. You see, there has to be the desire to be free. And that desire, that mukshava, has to be of a very high quality, very intense, you see. It can't be merely intellectual, it can't be academic, that don't work. It can't, and mukshava is not so much the product of a logical process of reasoning. You see, it's more existential than that, you see, more fundamental than that, you see. But nobody gets serious until you suffer enough as an ego. Then you get serious. Then you get serious. There may be a little seriousness in the beginning, just enough to collect information, collect some teachings, but that's not much seriousness. That's not enough seriousness to generate that level of mumuksha, you see? Where the desire to be free and liberated now, you see, becomes intense. No fooling and no playing around with it anymore. See, you're not armchairing it no more. It's real. So that mumukshava has to be there. You follow me? And that mumukshava has to be translated into the practice, the process that leads to the liberation from your psychological, emotional dependency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You see, your attachment to samsara, blah, blah, blah. And that sadhana itself will only deepen to the degree that you overcome this misidentification of self with not self. Technically speaking, no real progress toward your fulfilling the goal of self and God realization can really occur until that fundamental misidentification has been broken. See, what we do, Amaji, we try to do sadhana while remaining identified with the body mind. That kind of sadhana is always going to be superficial, very limited, very shallow. Are you with me? Because on the one hand, you're trying to remain the ego I and transcend the ego I, so you become conflicted. Are you with me? And that's what you were describing, that inner conflict. You follow me? You see? Part of you wants to be free, and a part of you don't want to be free. It's the conflict. Are you with me? And the fundamental conflict is caused by this continuation of the misidentification with the body mind as being the self. Until that misidentification is overcome, you can't really get into the real process. You really just can't get into it. And all of the sadhana you do while you're still trying to remain an ego high, there's some benefit from it. Don't misunderstand me. You'll become moral and ethical and so forth and so, but you're not going to become self and God realized. You become a better human being. And that's not a small thing, but you're not going to get the sutta food. Misidentification with the body mind must be overcome. That is the express purpose of the meditation, is, you see, a deliberate, conscious, letting go of the identification, then even the experience of being a body mind. And that's the truth. Hard truth. But that's the truth. Think about it. All of your struggles and problems are rooted in your identification with this body, mind, and then who you are. All of them. True? True. Sad it is. So ultimate spiritual progress cannot occur. You see, with the identification with this body mind, you generate your mamakara. You see, the my husband, my wife, my kids. You see, you bind yourself, and once you are totally bind, then it's like that. So you have to really, really engage it. More reflection, more mumukshava, gather up the courage to die as ego while living. And that is made easier when you have some understanding. But that identification must be broken for the sake of making real spiritual progress. Otherwise, you only can get so far. Something else to say about it, Billy? So the way out is to let go of your clinging to the maintenance and perpetuation of who you think you are. It is just thinking. Who you presume yourself to be, who you consider yourself to be. It's just all thinking, concept, shit made up. Are you with me? How you want to be, psychosocially, you know what I mean? The sense of possession, you own something, something is mine. You think this is mine, that's mine. So all of that comes from the identification. Attachments are based on the identification with the gross physical body and mind that you think you are. See? And all the other things we said. See? And so my stuff is gonna last forever. Your stuff ain't gonna last forever. With that misidentification with the body-mind, you see, you become trapped in the presumption that you are the kata, you're the doer. That you are the doer and you're the bhokta, the enjoyer of the action. You actually feel that you're the one that did it, and I'm the one that is enjoying it. No, the mind is enjoying it. You just witnessing the mind having a momentary experience of pleasure. And because of our ignorance, we try to cling to and reproduce that over and over again, not understanding that pleasure indulged in over time will automatically, according to the law, transition into pain. Now, some of us will leave here today, go eat some pizza and so forth and so on, right? And that first pizza is going to be delicious. And you might say, man, this is good, let me get me another piece, and that'll taste all right. Then you say, oh, then if I say, okay, eat the whole thing. That third piece ain't going to be so pleasurable. The fourth piece, you can barely swallow it. By the time you get to piece number 6, you're throwing up. See? The indulging of your senses have a limit. All of them. And when it hits that limit, it starts transitioning. But out of our ignorance, you see, we don't know that. And we go past that limit and create suffering. See? That's why all the mystics talk about moderation. They're talking about limit. Understand the limit. You see? Right. You follow me? You can only watch so much TV before your retina burn out. You understand? You can only listen to so many songs. You listen to 1,000 songs with your earplugs, then you're going to be deaf. When you take them out, you're going to be able to hear shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. Across the board, right? You can't even stay in the bed too long. After a certain point, you got to get up out of that bed. The bed is killing me. Bed sores, you know what I mean? And the bed just went beyond the limit of comfortable rest. You follow me? Don't take my word. Look and see for yourself. Who will have the last word?
Well, one thing I always notice that you consider us, well, not want to consider, but you acknowledge that we're rascals.
Yes, sir.
That's a strong acknowledgement because that's our childlike. That's the childlike understanding, and that's what my assumption was just discussing, that deep rooted in that child behavior is that selfishness, that wanting. So we have to sit, you come, like you said, the guru brings the light to that dark concept. And that's true, that's kind of a dark concept. As you become older, that becomes a problem, or should be. And so once, but at the same rate that you're living and you're dying with these concepts, you have these, you have this delusion that the more I absorb, the more I consume my inhibitions and my desires. That's a sort of trap move. And when you come and you give us these understandings, you first have to kind of hurt enough. You have to get to a point where you're just so indulged, you're so absorbed with this that you don't need it anymore. That's just a step. And then the next step is these, you have meditation, you have satsang, but throughout the meditation, throughout the satsang, ultimately it seems like you always state that there has to be a level of suffering. Can you explain a little bit of the level of suffering as well as the level of kind of surviving or walking this life? Because it's a necessary process. It's just inevitable, a necessary process. Can you explain that?
Well, those are a lot of things. That's a lot of some good stuff, man. A lot of good stuff. Well, you have audio back there, so part of his task when you all are conversing is to address some of that, you know. And when I run through the shop, then we can pick up on those specific things that you and I would like to explore. Would that be fair enough? But just very briefly, beloved, rascals. I say rascals simply because deep down inside you know what to do.
Yeah.
You see? You know what to do. You're just being a rascal. You're being mischievous. You're being hard-headed. You see? But deep down inside, you know. You've been instructed. You know. Just being a rascal. You know. You want to do it your way. You follow me? That kind of avoiding self-discipline, you see. Won't take the garbage out unless your mama have a fit, then you take it out. You know that's garbage day. Just a rascal. And, but again, you talk about the suffering piece. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of different grades of suffering, you know? Suffering need not be the kind of suffering being broke and cancer-stricken and so forth and so on. That could be a suffering in some senses. But suffering in the sense of chronic dissatisfaction. You could be suffering with $1 billion. Are you with me? And you could be suffering with a Ozzie and Harriet type family, you know. You could still be suffering because with the experiences, you're not satisfied. There's something missing. You feel incomplete. There's a void. Are you with me? And as you begin to inspect the cause of that, are you with me? You see? You begin to notice that this fundamental mechanism underlying that, you see, as your search for happiness. And the realm of conditional reality is wearing you out. So one of the things you have to become capable of is the suspension of the very search to be happy. You see, here's another rule. As long as you're seeking to be happy, you'll never be happy. Go ponder that. It'll never happen. Because the seeking is outside. Wrong direction. So the more you seek outside, and this or that, no matter what this or that is, you're not going to be happy. The cessation of the seeking has to occur. The Buddha said there's suffering, there's dukkha, right? That's an observation that applies to all jivas, all bound souls, all souls that are misidentified, all jivas are suffering. Buddha said, and the cause is your desires, krishna, desires, because you are seeking, driven out of your desire to have something. You see, you desire this, and you desire this because you presume that by having this or that, you will be made happy. So it's the desire that is moving you, you see, into the jagat, right? And Buddha said, there's a way out. Amaji was asking, you see. And the way out that the Buddha talked about is the cessation of your desires. And he said, and there's a way to bring about that cessation. He gives you the eightfold path, which starts incidentally with right view, right understanding, seeing it as it is. See, then the rest of the remaining 7 phases are possible for you. But it has to have right view, understanding. Now, if you want to avoid those feelings of depression, and so forth and so on, boredom, misery, anger, what is suggested is that even though it's not possible, but you're going to take some kind of proactive efforts here, then try to make others happy. You'll feel a lot better. You still won't be blissful, but at least you won't feel like blowing your brains out. You see, it'll enable you to cope a little better with the vicissitudes of life, this ups and downs. But it's still required that you give up this seeking to be happy here. This seeking to be happy has to end. What are you trying to make happy? Body, mind. It reinforcing it. You have to give it up. And instead, seek to make others happy. See? And that at least stop the feeding of the ego. See? Provided that seeking to make others happy is of the quality of seva. You know what I mean? Not seeking to make other people happy in order to arrogate to yourself virtues and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Perfect. All right. Time to wake up. We're done. You get you a tape and go over it at home in your comfort zone. Amen. Nobody. I understand how this is. So,
That's it, that's the one. That's the one.